staff, or community member would like to know what was discussed. If you do not wish to be recorded, please let us know at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. In Carrie's short absence, she will return, but I will call this meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. And if you could all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. The first item on our agenda tonight is the welcoming and introduction of our new staff. Carrie Joy, please come on up.
This is one of the fun board meetings to really attend because it's so exciting to see our new hires. This year, to date, we've had a total of 35. Excuse me, we had 15 certificated and 20 classified. That includes our non-reps. I think we're more accustomed to seeing some really larger numbers in our certificated staff. So what I take that as is Orting's an amazing place. Our retention is really good and people want to be here. And I'm really excited that I'm here and that our administrators get to introduce our new staff for the 25-26 school year. So with that, I think we'll be starting with Connie Halverson-Tron with Orting Elementary. Okay. Crew, come on up.
Hey, good evening, everyone. At Orting Elementary School, I think we have the largest list here, so bear with me as I introduce each person. Let's start with Kelsey, because she's the first on my list. Oh my gosh. Kern. She is a first grade teacher at Orting Elementary School. She's replacing Ruth Marez, who moved into her MTSS position. She is a first-year teacher, so this is her first job ever. She has two beautiful babies at home and recently just moved out of Orting to Beckley, but is very familiar with the Orting community as she lived here for years. So we're super excited to have Kelsey Kern in first grade. Can you guys hear me okay? Is that okay? Okay. Caroline, come on up. You're next. Caroline Reinecke is our third grade teacher, and she replaces someone who moved to a different district. We are super excited to have Caroline. She is a Central Washington graduate, and then she moved to East LA in Florida to teach over there, and then has just recently moved back to Washington State. So she's had a variety of different teaching experiences in different communities, which we are thrilled about here in Orting. So welcome, Caroline. Carly. It does say Carly Kuhn on here, but Carly was just married like
a month ago.
Less than a month ago, and so congratulations to Carly. Her name is now Mrs. Bolin, and she comes to us from Centralia School District, where she's taught second grade down there, and we are just so thrilled to have her on the third grade team, and congratulations on your marriage. Next up is Adam Kalinowski. Come on up. We are thrilled to have Adam here at Orting Elementary. He is our added fifth grade section. Adam is also a first-year teacher. He did some student teaching at Bonnie Lake Elementary in the Sumner School District, and then did a long-term some position in fourth grade at Emerald Hills. He has a military background and then found his passion in teaching as his second career when he was teaching through the military. And so we're super excited to have him at Orting Elementary School. Welcome, Adam. Is Brittany. Come on up, Brittany McCall. Brittany McCall is another first-year teacher, and she did a lot of subbing in the Orting School District last year, and we just really loved her at Orting Elementary and wanted to bring her on board after watching her interact with the kids at our school. So she is our part-time SEL teacher, so she teaches those kids as a specialist. She sees all of our kids during her week at Orting Elementary, and we are just so excited to have her. Welcome, Brittany. And Naomi Moeller, come on up. She is at the bottom of your list under Jennifer, but we thought that since she's at our building every day that I would introduce her. Naomi, if you don't recognize her, she was at Ording Elementary before, and we are just absolutely thrilled to have her back as our school psych. It has been a joy just to have her and work with her with some of our kids with some high needs. So welcome, Naomi. I'm just checking to make sure no one came in late, but we have 3 classified staff. Ashley Skelly, she is a lab para educator. Feliciana Baldwin, we just hired her as a high needs one-on-one para. And then Irma Artiga Mendoza is our assistant secretary. So that concludes our new staff, except for 2 more that we're hiring next week. Almost fully staffed. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. I am super excited to introduce 2 new additions. I actually should have had Connie stay up because we're excited to welcome Emily Todd Carson to both PTR and OES as an additional resource teacher. So she has come on and had to learn new systems, and she has been an excellent addition to our team across the board. Emily comes to us with experience in special education and life skills resource and has multiple years, and her experience has been a benefit to our team as we're developing new systems and supporting all of our students. A fun fact about Emily is if given the choice to wear sweaters all year long or wear pajamas, she chooses pajamas. So, welcome, Emily. I am very excited to introduce Nutella Gruel. Nutella is actually our multi-language learner instructor. It's the first time this year that we actually have someone who is for PTR. She has been an excellent addition in order to get to know students. She's already up and running, introducing herself to kids, working with students, joining PLCs, and how we really serve our students in that capacity. So she actually joins us with years of experience, also as an MLL teacher in the Cal School District, moved to California and is back here in Washington State. A really fun and interesting fact about her is that if she could choose to have her life narrated by Morgan Freeman or Jim Carrey, she would choose Jim Carrey, which in just the short time that I've gotten to know her absolutely fits what I've learned. So we are super excited to have Nutella join us this school year.
If any of the new teachers at the elementary school that are new to the classroom are in need of classroom books, as in high quality fiction or nonfiction picture books, I have a lot of books that I'm ready to get rid of.
That would be great. Thank you.
So just email me,
Yes.
okay?
Good evening, everyone. Kevin Collins, principal at the middle school. And this year we had 5 new hires. 4 of them were para-educators. And we also have our new assistant principal who you will meet at the November board meeting. But this evening we have our sole representative tonight is Jessica Jensen. I'm so excited to introduce you to her. She lives in Bonnie Lake with her husband. They're celebrating their 20th wedding anniversary in April. And a fun fact about her, her son is attending the United States Air Force Academy and will be graduating as an officer in 2028. So really excited to welcome you to our district.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
How's it going? I don't have any fun facts. I just said, what are some fun facts? Really excited. We have 4 new certificated teachers at Ording High School this year. 2 of them couldn't be with us tonight, but I'll tell you a little bit about who they are. But with us tonight are Lucy Borgold, And Lucy has spent close to 30 years in Las Vegas as a special education teacher. She joins our staff, and she's super fun and excited to be there. And joining her out on the new island portables is Amy Klaus. And Amy was working in the Sumner Bonnie Lake School District in special education at elementary level and wanted to get up into secondary. Lives in Enumclaw, so she's joining Ed on some long commutes right now. I know, soon to be resolved. Two of our folks that couldn't be here tonight, we have a new physical education teacher, Katie Cook, Miss Cook, and she's in her first year of teaching and doing an incredible job, joining Mr. Nasdick and Mr. Basket and doing pretty awesome right away. And then Elaine McDonald, what a steal. Unfortunately, Maggie J left us this summer, lived up in Seattle and was commuting every day and wanted to get up closer to home. And Elaine McDonald was in White River for 10 years and then took some time off to raise kids and came back, and she's an instructional leader, and we're very excited to have her on our team. So, and then last but not least, Mr. Hunky, our new assistant principal, is here, and Mrs. Marquez is doing volleyball coverage tonight. So, but I thought he is new to our system. I know we've met him before and you'll see him again, but I wanted to say welcome to him as well. Thank you.
Okay. I haven't done this in probably 10 years. So. I got the joy of hiring Becky Thibodeau, who is coming to us from 2 different districts. She was with Franklin Pierce, and then she was with Auburn School District, both in finance in schools. Then she and her husband moved their 52 dogs back east. I don't know how many, there's a lot of dogs. Back east to be around her girls and her grandkids, and then lucky for us, she decided she liked Washington better, and so she came back. So that was my fun fact. She has a lot of dogs.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That's the one we really well. Yep, so this is our new team.
Well, thank you all for taking time out of your long and busy scheduled days to be here. It's always really nice for us as a board to get to put some faces to names. Although, full disclosure, I'm really bad with remembering names. Faces I can do, but the names will escape me. I will ask you 100 times, I'm sure. But we love Ording, and we know that the community feel and what we get from Ording, we hope that you will feel that and enjoy it just as much as we do. So thank you so much for being here.
Yes, welcome aboard. Joanne and I are retired teachers from the district here, so we hope you enjoy it as much as we did. And I was serious about the books. I have way too many.
All right. Well, we do have many other things on our agenda tonight, but we welcome you to finish your evening at home with your families. You are welcome to leave. You are also very welcome to stay and stay riveted to your seats about what's coming up next. We have great student board members here that will be giving a presentation as well. But if you'd like to take this opportunity to go ahead and head home for the evening, please do so. Have a great night. It's the first time that the kids loved it when we cried to us. Well, now that we've kind of cleared out the room, and Carrie's not here yet to continue on, we will just keep plowing away. The next item on our agenda is introduction of student board representatives. I have some, Mr. Hatzenbuehler.
Director Kinsler, members of the board, it's my pleasure to introduce our newest student board representative, our junior student board rep, Mr. Dallas Guy. Dallas, we have the fortunate pleasure of being with us for the next couple of years. Ever since you formulated your strategic plan He has been helping to lead and enact and craft a vision around dignity. He's brought that not only to the middle school, but taught elementary students and have brought much of that same leadership to the high school. He is a two-sport scholar athlete. He's been a part of our record championship wrestling team as well as a track athlete. I hear that one of his potential interests, he hasn't selected a career pathway, but I hear that he's interested in political campaigns, campaign management, which I know we have a political campaign we're actively working on right now. So I'm really hoping we can tap into his future and current expertise about passing this school bond. He has another secondary interest in law. He's a snowboarder, and we are really happy to have him aboard. So please help me welcome Mr. Dallas Guy to the board representative.
I just have to tell you, you did an excellent job on our opening day. You were great.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Any comments, sir?
All I really have to say is I'm very, very grateful to be here. I'm grateful for this opportunity, and I'm very excited to be able to represent all the students at a district level.
So excited to have you
Good.
on board.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda, we're just on through here, is board recognition.
It's not showing up on mine. Okay.
I'll go ahead and start this evening. Earlier this month, we welcomed back nearly 2,900 students. Big thank you and shout out to our staff, parents, and community for helping prepare our schools, creating a strong start. We're excited for a great year ahead. Class of 2026. Can you believe it?
A big thank you to our staff, families, community, and the neighborhood for helping ensure the new drop-off and pickup routine on our shared Ording High School and Ording Elementary campus runs smoothly. We want to recognize our Ording Elementary and Ptarmigan Ridge families for adapting so well to the new start and dismissal times, and we appreciate their flexibility and teamwork. It takes as we maximize the use of our facilities. And I can honestly tell you, people have been waiting in line patiently because they all wait in line in front of my house.
I'd like to just mention that the Ording band got to perform at the Husky halftime, which I think is totally amazing.
Oh,
How fun is that? And what an honor to be able to be selected for such a huge crowd and for that kind of a performance. So that was really cool.
In September, we honor National Suicide Prevention Month, Deaf Awareness Month, and Hispanic Heritage Month, which runs from September 15th to October 15th. Among others in the Ording School District, we are proud to celebrate our community's diversity and the many traditions meaningful to our students, staff, and families. And after being at the open house for both elementary school, I can tell you we are diverse. We have diversity right here. So that's just who we are.
I'd also like to tack on to that one. If I'm remembering correctly, we had a little blurb about our IT team being recognized this month, and I would like to say we can especially call that out tonight.
Yes.
They're always here to help us, and we thank our IT team. Whoever happens to be on duty, you're very much appreciated.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much personally. I've needed you every meeting.
And the final note, a big thank you to our staff and the keynote speaker this year at the kickoff, district kickoff, Dr. Paul Bloomberg. It was wonderful and inspiring. He also, Dr. Bloomberg, partnered with each of our schools individually to support their goals for the year. And that makes a huge difference as we see later on. We as the board, as things are presented to us and we see the growth and what happens, starting off the year with that kind of a focus is just a really great opportunity that we have. So we appreciate his dedication to our schools. And with that, we are to community and staff comments. I don't believe we have anything this evening. And I will pass it off here to Superintendent Hatzenbuehler, and then let Director Thibodeau take over from there.
Thank you so much for covering for me, yes.
I would like to start my report tonight with some wonderful news. Presuming Bonnie and I did the math right, we'll see. But if you remember the bond campaign back in 2023, we were really looking at lower voter registration data from our parents and guardians. And we saw at the time 40% were not registered. We have been focusing on that very hard in every communication that we have done since that time, really trying to outreach and connect. Just looking at our current voter database and where parents and guardians and who's registered, we have upped that number by about 19%. So we're just right around 80% of our folks registered. So very exciting news, and we just appreciate all the communication and the outreach and the hard work to build that number up so that their voice is heard on every election, including elections that pertain to their children. We do have an election. Dallas, pay attention. We'll see what you got. We have a November 2025 bond package. Some of these things I just want to keep reiterating so the public is aware. May not be new necessarily for you. Based on your bond task force recommendation and feedback, they said run a laser-focused bond. So we pulled out a lot of what had been in there. There's just two projects, a new Ording Elementary School that would serve about 600 students. Mind you, the one that's built today is built for less than 300. And a new 200-student Ording High School focused solely on career and technical education. Only if that's approved by the voters do we qualify for state matching funds. So that puts the price point at $137.2 million. If you look back to the historical bond, the last bond, that's 55% lower. So you have really been trying to make things as affordable as you can. That would be estimated to cost about $1.27 per thousand. That is also, in the last 2 years, the cheapest measure you have put before the voters. And the reminder is, if approved this year, no taxes would come on board until calendar year 2027. So we get to start right away. The bill wouldn't be received by voters for a couple of years. Looking at the history, a majority of voters have always supported. In fact, in my Friday update, you'll see tomorrow's sneak peek. In the last 30 years, we have put 12 bond measures before the voters. 2 have passed, 10 haven't. But there's just one in the last 30 years that a majority of voters haven't supported. But a majority of voters doesn't seal the deal on a bond. We need a supermajority. If we look back to the November 2024 general election, we need 40% of that number to validate. That is exactly 4,242 votes. So we need that, at least that many people to vote. And of that total number, 60% need to say yes for it to approve. Looking at the growth, the tail of the tape is still ongoing growth. We're expecting well over 4,000 homes, 500 single-family homes, which could bring over 2,000 children in the next decade into the 4 schools that we have. I'll share enrollment data in a little bit, but I can tell you definitively, as of right now today, every school is above its design and built capacity, because the middle school had a surprise enrollment uptick. So now every school is over its built capacity. Looking at what that means for us, well, we're in 2025. If you look at 2033, what that plays out like, which we go for overcrowded to I don't even know how we would make it work, is what that looks like. So thinking about the specifics, our task force recommended us consistently to anchor in the impact. Well, we have 3 to 4 labs right now at the high school. They are the same labs we've had in 1986 when it was a school built for 250 people. This would add a brand new culinary lab, 2 biology chemistry labs, 2 physics physical science labs, a health science lab that supports the medical careers, and an engineering robotics lab, and it also remodels the current STEM lab into an ag mechanics lab, and the current culinary classroom into an ag science space. So it dramatically improves the amount of space and access students have, which actually will help prepare them for living wage jobs, meeting industry standard. As you've heard in many of your tours, many of our spaces don't even have the electrical or other infrastructure to bring in equipment even if we had the space, which we don't. So Principal/Director Matt Carlson, because I don't think he's given that up yet. We'll hear his voice in many upcoming videos and articles about just what will really the impact look and sound like. At the elementary school, safety is on everybody's mind always, and I can tell you the facility we have was built in the 60s. We don't think and envision safe and secure schools then like we do now. So keyless controls, automatic lockdown systems, tempered safety glass. That facility has over 40 entrance and exit points. The new school would have 1 entrance and exit point. Our kitchen space was built to serve food for under 300 students. We have over 600 students. Last year we served over 36,000 more meals than we did the year before in a space that was never designed for it. So many of our folks are concerned about safe walkways because we have walkers, bussers, car people, all in the same area. It separates that into a longer pickup and drop-off space, a separate bus loop, which really improves not only the walking, but the car and the bus safety. And then you heard in some of your tours that the portables don't have alarm systems. They don't have intercom systems. They don't know and hear right away if we're in a modified lockdown. This bond would remedy all of that. So those are many of the stories we're going to be telling over time. Based on your feedback, last meeting we have several outreach opportunities. Of course, our website is always up to date with all the facts and questions and information about the bond. You're hosting a virtual town hall, which will begin to communicate on Tuesday, October 21st, where they can speak with you, hear from me, hear from some of our panel of experts in terms of what's going on. Followed by the week after, we will have an in-person tour on the 28th. So that means your board work session October will be after your regular board meeting, but we'll host that at Ording Elementary, and students and staff can guide our community and show them and help them experience what they deal with every day. And this is a new strategy. Director Freese, Brittany, myself, we're going to walk people through the school day and put out an invite to anyone that wants to see what it looks like in the day. Seeing is believing, and that's actually made a difference for many of our task force members, coming to see it with their own 2 eyes. And so we're going to make that available and walk them around and show them and have conversations. So that's it on the bond front, but more information will be unfolding, including some reels and fun videos, informational videos, and some serious information as well about what it looks like and what would be fixed. We did kick off since we were last together. We love meeting with our drum line and our cheer, just creating that sense of welcoming, that sense of belonging is an integral aspect of agency. That's part of what the focus of kickoff was. Once we go through and do the inspiring launch, that leads to action. Last May, we discussed with you, what does a cycle of inquiry look like? What have we been focusing on? How have we been working to improve academic outcomes? And so I just showed some pictures of what that looks like. So last spring we really developed the core competencies. Those aren't new standards, they're existing standards, but we're really trying to work with staff to figure out what is the most important learning outcome in ELA and math. Why? How do we teach to it, assess it, intervene on it? Those were developed last spring, and so the fall, starting the year, is really around the implementation of that work. We're really excited about the conversations, the development. You'll hear maybe some sneak peeks from Director Lee tonight, and then more of a story next month as we really begin to unfold the instructional work, which will be followed by November's school improvement plan presentation. So you really start to see how that translated from May to the formulation and actionizing of those goals. So we're really excited about that. This is the time of year we are stressing around enrollment. How'd we do? So I figured I'd throw in a slide of what that looked like. We're pretty much spot on. These numbers don't include running start, but we're within 2 of what we guessed. So that's pretty good guessing, but the 2 didn't come in like we thought, which always happens, right? Ording Elementary has more or less than we thought. Ptarmigan Ridge has a few more. The tail of the tape is what happened at middle school. We're going to need to add more staffing there. If we knew those numbers last spring, we probably would have given them 2 additional teachers, so they're tight. So Director Freese, Director Joy, working with Kevin at the middle about how do we really mitigate some of those classes. We don't want English or math classes at 37 or 38 children. So that's creating some work and readjusting their schedule, but it's in process. High school has a few less FTE than we thought, but look at what's happening with Career Tech Ed. Matt has worked with Kevin. to really improve career tech ed access at the middle school. We thought we'd have 97 FTE. They're already up to 135. So we're excited about what some of that push down and collaboration has looked like. High school is just under. So all in all, we're doing really well in that regard. The fascinating, interesting thing is kindergarten is down, not just with us though. I talked with 2 of our superintendent colleagues. They're seeing the same thing. Last year we were about 188 kindergartners, which was lower than we thought by a little bit. We're about 155.
Oh, wow.
So K is way down, which is an interesting phenomenon, not just with us. When we shared, Director Free shared the enrollment projections, and what you could see in that is a low birth rate in 2018, 2019 across the county. It wasn't so much lower than the year before that we would have expected kindergartners number to go down that far. So we'll see what next year brings, but that creates a section difference from kindergarten in the 150s to your 5th grade in the 220s. And so it means likely in elementary every year someone's going to have to shift what they're teaching because the numbers aren't the same across the board. So that's something we'll be watching and paying attention to in the spring. In the spirit of no surprises, for the last piece of the commendation here for tonight, I want to just commend you all for having a clear, specific, actionable strategic plan. Last year is the first year that we've reversed some loss trends and produced quite a bit of measurable growth. And that's one of the criteria if you want to apply for WASDA's Board of Distinction. They want to see that you have a plan, you're implementing the plan, you're monitoring the plan, and they want to know what you're seeing as results. And we had all of those. So I took, without asking you, a shot at applying for a Board of Distinction recognition. So the application is submitted. What I didn't know is I was outed because they automatically emailed Director Thibodeau. I'm like, oops, well there you go, I got caught. But so I took a shot. We will see if you make it here in the next few weeks. So that concludes my report for the month to you.
Awesome. Thank you. Board, any questions?
No, I just wanted to say, whoever came up with the idea of having the separate QAR code on the piece of paper at all of our outreach things, that was really helpful. We gave out quite a few of those, so.
That will be on your letter as a mailer home to all of our families in case anyone sees it and is not and is able to register. Hopefully they can just get that done real quick.
Yes. Exciting to see those numbers up.
I do love the idea of the tours during the day. I really think that's a great idea to really see what's going on when it's actually happening.
Yeah, that was, I think, instrumental, as Ed said, in our task force work. The task force got to tour the schools during the day, and it was very eye-opening, and to hear authentically from the students' voice.
Yeah, that's great.
How they're dealing with some of the challenges we face. So we're looking forward to letting others experience that. Everybody's invited.
Yep.
So we're hoping the community takes advantage of that opportunity. All right, first report of the evening. Of course, student voice is a priority of the board, and so students report first at our meetings. So Dallas, it's your first time. Carly's a veteran, so I'll let you two decide who's going to go first tonight.
I'll go first. I'm not decided. Okay, we're just gonna start off a little. This is like a sneak peek. It's like spoiling the surprise. I'm not talking about
But
that
I love
yet.
that. Perfect.
Don't look at it yet. For your eyes. For a few little updates throughout the school, sports and stuff. Homecoming is already approaching pretty quickly, which is a lot sooner than it would be before because usually it's like end of October. But we're gonna do our dance is actually on the 4th of October this year. So we have 2 weeks until homecoming week starts. So there's gonna be a lot of spirit and fun stuff going on at the high school there. Fall sports are starting off pretty strong. Football is 2-0 right now. It has a game tomorrow against 5. Golf is also doing well. They're going 3-1, and a freshman scored a 10-point on a varsity match. His name is Chance Rue. And all boys qualified in their first ever match. And then volleyball is currently going 1-2, and right now they're having a game against Bethel. They won against Washington, which were league champs last year, so that's a strong start. And then cross country has their first meet tomorrow. And then this is the surprise. A couple days ago, me and Dallas met up with a 5th grade class at OES, and we asked a handful of simple questions like the same we did last year. Starting off pretty simple, not too much for the start of the year. And then Dallas, you can start off with that first question.
Yeah, so the first question we asked was, if you could show your learning in any way, what would you choose? And what we saw is that a majority of students thrived in being able to express their learning in a creative and physical way. When I say physical, I mean like drawing and writing and a lot of building. A lot of students actually asked a lot of questions about being able to build and STEM club and stuff like that. And they're all going to middle school, so that's something that they're going to be able to do pretty soon. But it was really cool to see that they just really enjoyed the option of creativity and having choice and how to express themselves and work their mind in a creative way.
Very cool.
And then we also asked, when do you feel the most connected with your classmates or teachers? And then a lot of it was group work. And whether that's something as simple as just having time set apart, like, hey, work on your partner with this, or it was like reading in class together and just sitting at the carpet together and getting help from their peers. Connection through being seen and heard, which is a really common trend that we're seeing, is like people are really feeling connected and really connecting with the work and feeling passion with their work and like taking ownership of it when they feel like it's being seen and like it's being heard, which is something cool to hear from 5th graders to bring up. That was really cool.
Another question we asked is, when do you feel happiest at school? A lot like the question prior, a lot of students expressed that they enjoy being able to work as a class and have social engagement. A lot of students also expressed that they enjoyed a lot of like specific subjects, like enjoying time when they get to read and when they get to practice their math and work on their academic skills, which is also really cool to hear that they get excited to do those type of things. Yeah, it was like Carly said, it was really cool to hear how students recognize when they're able to work with their peers and when when people that they respect and enjoy to be around are actively listening to them and they are able to recognize that. From 5th graders, I wasn't actually expecting it, but they pay a lot of attention to that detail. So that was really
Nobody
cool.
said recess.
I know.
Actually,
Recess or lunch?
Like lunch and recess.
there may have been like just like one recess, but a lot of students expressed like, yeah, I really like to be, reading, or I really like to work on math, which is really cool because I hear a lot of high schoolers don't really like math. So hopefully that doesn't change. Because they really enjoyed the academic and peer connection that they got from being in a classroom.
Yeah, peer connection. That's something that has stood out to me, like when I think back on my own education, and then as we've been able to visit the schools and see how the different schools are learning, and that peer time, that peer learning from each other that you mentioned, seems to be really valuable to people. So I love that. Hope it continues.
Yeah, it's really cool. I just also, like before, it was just, especially when you talk to 5th graders, they're kind of in this weird awkward stage of like, oh, I'm kind of mature for my age because I rule this school, I'm the oldest one, I know what I'm talking about, and so like I'm too cool to like school. But it's like so cool to hear them say that like, oh, I love just reading and I love doing the math, and like people, it's just like it's so cool. It's so cool to see. Another question we did ask though was, when do you feel the most safe? And this one was staff and adults really is what made them feel the most safe. Especially like something simple. It was just like looking out for their physical health. If there was like something wet on the floor and they're like, hey, be careful. That's something a student brought up and they were like, yeah, that makes me feel like they really care about me and really make me feel safe. And then having someone in the school to trust and talk to, whether that's a friend or a teacher. Yeah.
The last question we asked is, what is a goal that you have for this year? And a lot of students just expressed that they really wanted to improve on those subjects. Once again, they wanted to just improve in reading and math. Some students also said things like they hope to like kind of stay quiet and not be too much of, just not interrupt too much. And another student expressed that they want to be able to speak up for themselves if they need to. And that was another thing I really enjoyed, was to see a lot of awareness in students and be able to set those goals at a young age. It's really cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, so just after meeting with them, it was really cool to see that their wants and needs were not much different from our own. Like, from elementary, like if I thought of what a fifth grader would want, it's like fun, 24/7. Let's play this game, let's do this. But it was just really making that connection with people and feeling that heard, feeling that seen. It's just as much as I want it. And it's really cool that they want the same things. The simple and connection and appreciation is noticed like to be a large aspect, which is really cool. They want to take control of their own learning and do all this stuff. And it's just like, also, this is kind of off topic, not really off topic, but it was a cool thing that I also saw. They were talking about like a coffee shop Thursday that they did, and like it got brought up multiple times, and it's basically like, it's not free time, but it's like a coffee shop, I guess, where they can read and they can do like, it's like, they create this environment where they get to express themselves in their own way and like learn how they want to learn, whether that's through the reading or maybe that's through the building and other stuff like that. It's just a time for them to really just do what they want, what they think is like engaging them the most, which is really cool to hear. Also super fun.
Is that like during Falcon time or?
It was,
I'm curious.
I really don't know how she set it up in her classroom.
Okay.
But it was really cool to hear that that's a huge highlight for them. Was not just, it wasn't, oh, I love going to recess. In coffee shop, they made it very clear that it wasn't just a fun free time.
Okay.
It was like, this is an aspect of my learning that is really fun to me.
Is that just for fifth graders, or is that the entire school?
I'm not entirely
That
sure.
class?
It might have been that class.
Okay.
It might have been something that they're, I don't know,
That's a cool
but it was a
idea.
really cool concept that I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of an adult idea, like
Yeah.
something that you would attribute normally to an adult idea, but then the kids get to execute.
fun.
That's really very cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
Also, one of those students, they drew me. So, I kind of got it in. Her name was Carly. It was great. Yeah.
Love that connection.
That's basically all we got for us.
That you say it's basically all you got, but I have to tell you how valuable it is to
Yes.
us and how much we appreciate, not just you guys bringing your own voices to this, but also more student voices to this. Very cool.
I'm impressed at the environment in which you guys went into that classroom and allowed them the opportunity to not only speak, but it sounds like they were very introspective. I mean, to be able to, as a fifth grade student, to say, I want to hopefully improve on not being so loud or interrupting, or to be able to stand up for myself. I mean, that age group is, we're going through a lot of things at that age, and for you guys to make it a safe place for them to just say that, not only to older students, but to their peers. That's really awesome.
And to new peers, they've only been together
Exactly.
for a few weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, really
And
You
it
made
was
a real
super
safe place
cool.
for them.
It
That's
was,
awesome.
like, it was super cool because they weren't timid at all. There was no hesitation when we walked in there. We walked in there and said, we're gonna ask you guys a few questions, and they were on top of the world. And it was so cool. Like before, when we talked to other people, it's like kind of like intimidating, and it was like they didn't really want, but something. They were really great. They were awesome.
Is this new this year that you're going into just a specific classroom instead of having kids pulled out to visit you? or-
Well, it wasn't planned to be just
Okay.
a classroom. We were just like, hey, we want to talk to students, and then we got put into a classroom. Typically, we want to do more individual, just because I think maybe earlier in the year we'll do classrooms because it's kind of easier, not as like intimate, I guess. But once we get a little bit more comfortable and like people are in school for a little bit longer, and we can pull them out and be one-on-one individual and really get like authentic answers rather than having to worry about answering in front of a class.
Awesome. It worked out well for this one.
Yeah.
Thank
Can't
you
wait
guys.
to see this evolve. Very good, thank you very much. All right, next item on the agenda is the financial report, which we're reviewing July financials in September. I didn't see any questions or anything out of sorts.
No.
All right. Thank you, Director Bannon. And next up, we have presented by Dr. Lee, our strategic plan review.
So I didn't realize that Ed had put you up for some kind of award.
That's true.
That's good. So we'll see tonight.
whether you deserve that because I'm going to be quizzing you. We'll see if you're worthy or not.
I will fully say from the beginning that absolutely not. It's everybody that
Well, this is all about you, so sitting on the stage, so we'll see how that works out for you, right?
Way to make us feel comfortable.
Put yourself in my place. Right? Come on. You guys aren't that intimidating, but no, it's not the easiest job to come up here. So we have a strategic plan. It's our last year in that strategic plan. But I think that, I know, can you believe that?
Wow.
It's our last year in this plan.
Okay.
Now, this is the first question. I'm going to ask you to do something, and you may or may not be comfortable with, but I'm going to make you do it anyways. Close your eyes. Like really, close them. Everybody, close them.
You're gonna make me
Close your
remember
eyes.
the goals.
Yeah. So I want you to picture a time when someone made you feel like your voice mattered. Think about that person and what they did and what that made you feel like. Got it? Okay, hold on to that. You can open your eyes now. Because this plan aims to do that for every kid. Every kid. Now, we talk about engagement a lot. Being engaged doesn't mean having fun, although that's one way to do it. Being engaged is like you're present, you're there, you're involved, and you feel like your voice matters. And so when Ed and I first came here, we spent a lot of time with the community, and that became one of the most important things. They wanted their kids to not just have a rigorous education, that's super important, have great outcomes, super important, but they wanted the feeling that you just felt. Okay, super important for us. So we came up with a mission, vision, and core values to really raise those things. And so this theory of action isn't just about academic excellence, which it is, but it's about how do we elevate that in kids. Because true engagement doesn't happen because we make kids sit in rows. True engagement happens when kids are, where my coach said this, and I'm going to clean it up. He says, put your head where your butt is, right? Okay? And that's, when we think about our theory of action, think about like agency and dignity, that's what it strives to do. And so then we came up with these goals to make that happen along the way. So there's a video that I'm going to play this. You've seen it before, but the reason I want to play it for you again is I want you to listen for the content, because this is one of the best explanations of the overview of our strategic plan. So.
Hey Ording, we're your student board representatives. I'm Jaden.
And I'm Carly.
And we are here to introduce to you the Ording Strategic Plan.
This plan isn't just about our academics, it's about us, our goals, our future, and our voices. Our district came together, students, families, teachers, and community members, to dream up what learning should look like for every student. And together, we built a plan focused on 4 big goals.
We're aiming for real-life, meaningful academic growth, which means high expectations and teachers who believe in us.
It's not just about grades, it's about learning who we are and where we are headed. Learning doesn't stop at the school doors. We're building stronger connections with our families and community.
When we partner with our community, we get more opportunities, like dual credit, internships, and supports for your goals.
School isn't just about academics, it's also about how we feel. This goal focuses on social and emotional growth.
We are learning to lead, manage challenges, and grow into our best selves, all while feeling safe, supported, and seen. Every student's different, and that's our strength.
This goal is about making sure we get the help we need, whether it's in class, emotionally, or with our future planning. These goals are more than just words on a page, they're a promise.
A promise to support our growth.
To listen to our voices.
And to make sure we feel connected, inspired, and empowered. Let's do this together.
Every student.
Every day.
When I see that, I think a couple things. I think Carly's probably shrinking in her seat because she says, "Man, I play with my hands so much." But the reality is, it was great, really. And Brittany, thank you for making that. That was such a great video.
Yeah,
a really good job. I think about the 3 C's. Maybe I'll trademark this for our next version of what this is, the 3 C's. So I think the first part I think about is coherence throughout our system, and that coherence is when all the different parts are sort of working together in the same direction. And so I'm going to outline a few things that is really getting us there academically, but the social part of that is super important. So that coherence for us is, I think it's super important for us. And by the way, remember when I said every one of you is an instructional leader? Remember that? Mm-hmm. Well, the second C is commitment. And so this is a promise. This strategic plan is a promise that we've all made to really think about how do we elevate kids. And we have measures within that, and we're going to go over those today as well. But so I think about coherence, I think about like that commitment that you have. And really the third one is really the connection that we have as people, because you can't have the other two unless we have connection. And Ed stood in front of our district office staff today, and he took a data point personally. He says, I want every single one of you to feel like you belong here, right? And so that connection is important in every level of organization. You see that reflected in our strategic plan as well. Okay, I'm going to move the next slide. Can I just push this?
No, because you probably all tap to the video.
Gotcha. Okay. So you got those 3 C's? Trademark.
Hey.
You've also seen this graphic before. We spent a lot of time talking about dignity and agency. Dignity, if you remember, is really every single person has a value no matter what. And that is super important. When we think about the 3 C's I just got done describing. Without dignity, that won't happen. It just will not happen. And you think about agency, like I had you close your eyes for a second. Thought about that? That feeling you got is what agency brings. And we want that for every single student and person in our district. And this is probably something new that I've been thinking more and more about. We've talked a lot about learner identity. Now, learner identity, I think I've explained this to you before. So like, I've had kids in my class that were like amazing, like skateboarders, or really loved to play video games, but they were terrible students, right? And so this identity, how do you see yourself in the learning? How do you connect yourself in the classroom? So I talked about engagement earlier. So we become engaged when we feel like we have agency. And so these two things are interconnected. So if I go to a classroom and it's teacher-centric, and I have no choice and my voice doesn't matter, then I guarantee you I'm not going to learn, right? And so these two things are interconnected. And so we think about like inquiry as a concept. Inquiry is like, how do I go through the discovery of learning and really add things that are important to me? And so this inquiry that happens needs to happen not just with teachers, and we've been spending a lot of time really developing inquiry around teachers and buildings. In fact, you'll see a Sept plan that's coming out, and that is very building-centric, right? But parallel to that, we need to have student inquiry as well. And so those two things have to happen. Students need to be involved in their own learning. They need to actually connect the things that they're learning to their own lives. Super duper important. So you can't have one without the other. It just won't happen. And so this idea around teacher inquiry, we've heard these 4 questions, the 4 PLC questions, many, many, many times. But there's student elements of that as well. So if you look on the left-hand side, like, do students know what I expect to learn every day? Do they know that? And the answer, I bet you, is probably not always, right? And then the second question, how will I know I'm learning? How will I know I'm learning? Super important. How will I adjust my learning along the way? So this is like when we think about an intervention. Well, who's the best interventionist for you? Well, you are. You know what you need, right? And the last question, what do I do if I already understand it? And that happens a lot as well. So that inquiry has to happen in parallel with the teacher work. So this year we spent a lot of time on these core competencies. Last spring we got together with our ELA and math teachers across the district and really defined what is the important learning along the way. Now that's not new. Like in terms of defining what's really super important, what the standards are really important. We used to call them essential standards. What's new about core competencies, they're written from the student perspective. And so it opens the door for really all the kids being involved in their own learning. And so these ideas of assessment, and assessment capable learners is super important, but the ideas around assessment and really thinking about like how do students assess their own learning, well, it can't happen unless they know what needs to be learned. That's in the core competency. I'll show you one in a second. But this idea around targeted intervention, well, if students don't set goals for themselves and know where they need to go, it's really hard to target the kind of intervention they need. And I think about the assessment capable learners, Paul talked about that quite a bit, right? How do we elevate student identity and make them central in the learning? And so we've started this core competency in the spring, and as we move through this fall, a lot of schools have moved into that unit mining. They're seeing where the core competencies fall within the units, and now we're moving into the assessment as well and looking at that. So you can read all this, right? Teeny tiny font. Okay. But if you look at the top part where it says core competency, the big idea and the essential questions, those are written for students. Those are written so students can sit side by side or with teachers and really think about what's the success criteria, what success look like for you and for that learning. And so there's accessibility within that. That's new, that's different. We had a high school teacher who says, whatever you do, Aaron, don't sell this as if you're doing just essential standards. It's not the same. This is different because it allows students to be at the center of their own learning along the way. And so this is the unit, I just want to show you what the work we're in right now, really looking at how do we take the current units that are being taught and really look at these big ideas, these core competencies, and where they fit along the way, because we can emphasize those, and the stuff where, like we have units where it doesn't really cover these things, guess what? We can de-emphasize that, and it makes space for intervention, makes space for discussion, makes space for students to like process their own learning, set goals, and so we have to make space and prioritize what's important. Unit skeletons are things that we are reflecting that, so we're working actively on these. And also that EAA, remember that? That's another quiz for you. Anyone know what EAA means? Paul talked about it. Evidence. Evidence, analysis, and action, right? And so PLCs are going through that process based on those core competencies as well. And so this cycle right here is super important because what it does is it combines not just the core learning things have to happen, but it combines what are students getting out of it and what their voice is all about. And then there's checks along the way throughout the year for us to do that. And that's only possible through these core competencies.
So, can I ask you a
Yep,
question?
please.
So, I just want to make sure I'm understanding this. So, you're saying that you're deciding, okay, this is important in information or reading, and then you're going to meet with the student and decide how that is going to make meaning for them? Is that what you're saying, kind of?
Yeah, so students obviously don't know the progression of reading, right? Like they don't know, like if I mentioned phonemic awareness to a student, they're like, I don't know what that is, right? But if we talk about like in order to read, you need to be able to actually sound out the words and understand what they mean. Now they have access to it, right? And so if I, as a teacher, I'm like working with kids on that, I could just say, well, we're going to work on phonemic awareness today. Here's the standard. They're not going to get anything out of that, right? And so like, just like when we close our eyes and we're thinking about like, you know, when's the time when my voice mattered? Well, in the learning, it has to matter. Because if I don't express exactly what I need to learn and understand what that is, then the access to it is lost to me. At best, we get compliance. Like we get kids like, I'll do it because you said so. But it's not working for most of our kids. That compliance is not working. Our data will show that over and over and over again. And I'm going to show you social emotional data, which will prove that as well. And so we have to change how we teach. We can't just depend on compliance anymore. We can't just say, you're going to do this because I told you to. We have
So
to
the
do this because we
PLCs
believe in it.
decide kind of what is the most important?
Yeah, so I met with all of the ELA math teachers, leaders, from all the buildings.
Okay.
And so like elementary is huge. We had 12 teachers. And so we came up with these core competencies. And then we thought about standards that align under that. We clustered them together.
But you put them in the voice of students.
Yes.
So it's understandable by someone who doesn't have years of academic education.
Absolutely.
I like that.
And one thing you'll see right away in January is the elementary report cards are aligned to the core competencies, right?
Oh, nice.
So you won't see standards anymore. You'll see the core competency that's in there.
Nice.
So it's accessible to parents as well, right? So now they can partner with you.
I feel like
Crazy.
you're just like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So it's powerful, the work that I think it's going to revolutionize how we look at work, and it's going to address those gaps that we have. And I know Ed has set the goal, and we need to address this in our strategic plan, for every school, every single school, every grade level, to close that achievement gap between where they're performing and where the state average is. Well, it won't be possible unless we do this. Like we can't adopt a curriculum that's that good. We can't like yell at people or fire people or threaten them enough to get them to close that gap. But if we really work with kids and really think about what's engagement look like and define what's really important, it'll happen. Guarantee it, it'll happen.
It's new for teachers too. It's a new kind of teaching.
Yeah, you know what, who loves it the most? The teachers.
I was just looking
They
at
love
it
it.
thinking I would like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, because it makes the learning accessible for
Yeah.
everybody, right?
And thank you for not leaving parents behind.
Oh,
in
parents
this
have to
too.
be central, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this is the last year we have of this plan. So board, we're going to have to get together and think about how to amend, change, tweak. My guess is we'll take a look at the measures along the way, and we'll probably look at those in a different light maybe as we move forward, but something to start thinking about as we go through these presentations. So here's a quote from Ed. I try to quote him as much as possible. He's the smartest guy in the room. You think about where we were 2 years ago, every grade level but 2 was in decline, right? Well, if we look at last year, it was the opposite of that, right? And so if you think about like what is really difficult about change, especially when you talk about kids and instruction, is turning that ship around. It's like when you go kind of in a nosedive, it's pulling that yoke back and pulling the plane up, and it takes a lot of energy and a lot of like just will and grit to pull that up, we're there. And so what Ed talks about too a lot, quite a bit, is like year after year of growth. And so we had growth this year, which is amazing, but we're not at like the state average yet. I don't think even the state average is probably where we need to shoot for.
Right.
It's well above that. And so the only way that's going to happen is that we have year-to-year growth. And I can't 100% guarantee it, but I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen with this plan. And I think we just need to stay the course with a lot of this stuff. Doesn't mean we don't think about growth and change and tweaking things along the way, but we're on a good pathway right now. And so our 4 goals and our measures are, I think, solid as ever. It's showing that we're getting progress and growth along the way, which is pretty darn exciting. And I think about like, us, really reporting on these together and working on this together. You're instructional leaders, right? All of you have a commitment to the community, and all of you got elected. I don't need to remind you of that. But this is the commitment right here. This is our contract that we're saying we're going to do this, and we're going to do this together. And that's why we have periods of time throughout the year where I'm going to come back and report on this stuff with you. And so we'll keep working on it together. So questions on that?
Can we just change the year 2025? Well, funny you mention that, because we did that. So we started on this path, what will end up being kind of 6 years ago. So, and then when it came time to review our goals, we said, no, it's working.
Yeah.
Let's keep pushing forward. And so that's kind of an important decision point that we're going to have is, do we continue with this, on this path and with this consistency? Because every time you shift to a new goal or a new direction, there's disruption and loss, leadership effectiveness and a loss in that. And so that's an important goal that we'll need to talk about as a group, or an important discussion, and whether or not we do change or do we stay the course and see how far we can push this. As you're presenting and as I was looking at this prior to the meeting, I feel like from the last conversation that we had, that you've taken this a significant leap forward since the last time we talked about the strategic plan and our goals and the progress and the measurement and the work that was to be done, and now to see evidence of that work. It's really exciting. So if you asked me today, am I ready for a new set of goals? I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
We're like on the edge. Like, let's see what happens next. And so that's my thoughts now, but we have to talk about that as a group. And but I feel like this is different, and this is something that we can do here in Ording, and that our focus on each student and their value here in this district as an individual, this speaks to them. This is individualized education that makes sense to them in their voice, and so it's powerful stuff. I'm really excited.
I think another great move was we now are retaining our teachers.
Yeah.
So much a better job of that, and that makes it so much easier to change and to move things along, because we're not constantly having to teach it over and over and over. They're going from step to step to step, and I just was noticing today, we have, but that's because they've grown but all the other schools really don't have a huge turnover, and I think that that's a great thing. I like that we're doing something right.
On top of a district that's growing.
Yes.
We're growing, but also retaining. So Carrie, don't stay the course. But yeah, I'm excited by this work. I can't wait to see some of the outcomes, because you're just at the beginning of the school year.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, it took us, I think that we had to go through the last 4 years, to get to this point. And, as I talked to Paul, Paul says, you need to realize how much growth you've had in these years and how wonderful where you are right now is.
Yeah.
And I think about that a lot. I'm like, oh yeah, because it's like when your kids are growing, you don't really see them growing. Just one day you turn around, they're taller than you, right?
Yeah.
But this is just like that. We're growing, and we just have to pay attention and celebrate the goodness of that. So.
Yeah. And I appreciate you for acknowledging, in this work, that we can focus on this, and then the things we don't spend time on, like that important prioritization, and it applies here at this level, but then it also applies in our district and in our leadership. And so I just want to honor and recognize the work that you guys have done choosing our students over other things. So that stuff's, it's important in a lot of other districts, but here we prioritize kids.
Yep.
And so I just want to honor that.
Well, this is turning into a love fest, but I don't want to glaze over the fact of the commitment part of my 3 Cs. Having a board that's committed to this is absolutely invaluable, because there's no way we can keep moving forward with it unless we have that type of commitment. So I just want to say thank you very much for that kind of support. It's amazing. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
Exciting
I'm
stuff.
hoping to maintain that.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not leaving because I have to do another one. I get to.
Let me provide an adequate introduction for you.
Yes.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you.
My pleasure.
And thanks for sticking to the calendar of updates. I never wanted to be a board where we would just get once a year, look at this, and,
Yes.
you know, a quick presentation. I never wanted to be that kind of board, and so I just really appreciate the cadence of updates and the progress.
It's a we. It really is. It's not a me. And by the way, the guy sitting to your left, there's no way he wouldn't have it any other way. I just know that for a fact. But it is really a we.
Yeah.
And we're doing this together. It couldn't be done unless we had this kind of partnership. It just wouldn't be possible.
I have to say that this particular board member, if it wasn't for all of those consistent touch points and the call outs, I was lost a long time ago. And so having that has made a world of difference for me. I'm very excited to see these things come up because I understand them now. Having been taught and understand that my confusion was heard and respected, because I think at first maybe we weren't doing that as like we should have. So yes, thank you very much for all of that.
I'm just wondering if, after all we've heard about you working with the teachers and that, if when we get to building plans, if we could have some more insight maybe from the teachers also, you know, about this kind of work, so that we can hear how it's worked for the building. I mean, I'm intrigued by that idea of finding out more of, you know, how it actually works for the people that are doing it. Because it seems like this is now a big part of our district plan. So, and we're hearing about how it's working for the kids, both from our representatives and from our data. So I kind of like to hear from that other group too.
I'm hopeful we'll get hints of that when we do the CSIP plans, and then when we're able to visit in the schools.
Right.
And I like it when those presentations come from the teachers' voices. And then we kind of see how they work with the kids, and I'm hoping we get to see, you know, at a minimum, there will be that again in our calendar. So.
But it seems like since this is a new emphasis, it might be a good idea to include some, I don't know.
It means
That's what I'm
specifically
thinking
around
of,
the
just
standards.
Yeah.
You know, what we're calling the standards.
Hear how it's working for the teachers.
Yeah. Okay.
It does segue into my next one, but there's probably some kind of formal thing you have to say first, right?
Oh, yeah. The next item on our agenda is, again, presented by Dr. Lee, Strategic Growth Project, Progress, Academic Growth. Goal 1 and Goal 3.
Yeah. And we intentionally put these two together because we're thinking about, this time of year generally, our data from last year isn't solidified yet, like the state's still kind of working on it. But we wanted to focus more on like what's the learning experience. It's kind of what you're talking about, Director Madigan, with the students in particular. But I'll tell you that, just to address what you're talking about, like the concept of what you're talking about is street data. Now, street data is the experiences that people have, and that is powerful data. I mean, it's why you want to hear it, why you want to know it. The reality is that I can give you tons of street data on the experiences that I've had with teachers as we develop this together with them. So nothing is done to the teachers, it's done with the teachers. And the same thing with students. Like it is, there's a sort of democratic element of all of this, that we do this work together. And the reason we co-create it is because we have to have true engagement and connection to it. Like if we believe in agency, there's no way we can just say, here's what you need to do.
Right.
And do it, right? That's not the way it's gonna work. And so we have to, along the way, really take a pause and look at the street data along the way. What's the experience that people have along the way?
Well, that's what Carly and Dallas mentioned. I mean, an opportunity to converse about your learning and your experience. It reinforces things, it helps you think things through, it helps you understand the multiple viewpoints about things. So I always think about, well, we're all in on this together, so I like to hear from everybody.
And stories are powerful.
Yes.
Like Carly, you said something earlier. Like you said, when you walked into that 5th grade classroom, what happened?
They were on top of the world.
Yes, right. Well, why were they on top of the world? Because they knew something.
That I was awesome.
Well, you were awesome, but they knew you. Why were you there?
Ask some questions.
Yes, right. And that in and of itself is engagement,
Yes.
right? That's the street data that really drives us. And like, is what we're doing working? Like, do we want to continue sending these to schools?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Why?
And it also reinforces that you are important.
Yes.
Your voice matters, right? And so this report is really all about that. It's combining really these ideas that street data is really important. The experiences that people have is super important because it tells us like what's going on. And we have lots of satellite data. In fact, next time I meet with you, we're going to talk about some satellite data. That's super important too. But we get a full picture when we talk about like satellite data is the overall bigger picture, like the graphs and the charts. And the map data is like what trends do we see along the way? But that is incomplete without the data I'm going to talk about today, which is really about like experiences that people have along the way. And that's why, as a board, I think that's why we started with this, because we want to know the experience of kids first. And so in order to do that and really think about our goals, goal 1, academic growth, we're really thinking about like what's the experience of students as they learn, like how do they feel about their learning along the way, what are their voices saying? And we use a tool called Panorama, and we do the same thing for really the whole child, really thinking about like you as a person, how do you feel as you go throughout your day? Are you connecting with the learning along the way? So those two things come together. By the way, you can't separate out the two. I don't think you can have academic growth without thinking about the experiences that the whole child has throughout that, right? Because how you feel matters. It determines what you do, right? Those kids are super excited to see you guys. You got instant engagement, right? Along the way. That's powerful. That's powerful. If I walked in there like, yeah, whatever. But the fact that it was you two says something, right? Says something. So the Panorama Survey has 5 different topics along the way. Now here's a quiz. Remember I said I'd be quizzing you today. And I'm a little hurt, I'll be honest with you. Because 2 of these categories are different as we go throughout my presentation. Remember which 2? Anyone know? Don't look ahead. Oh, you're like pushing the button on me. No? Okay.
Classroom effort.
The categories are different?
Yeah.
Is it
Boy, I think you need to rethink that recommendation day, because this board.
classroom effort?
Perseverance comes in with really the social awareness. And remember, the focus is on the combination between whole child and academic growth, right? And so how do we actually actionize that? In other words, what are the things we can measure within that? If we just say to a kid, how do you persevere? It's really hard, right? But if we talk about what's your social awareness, in other words, are you paying attention to what other people are doing around you? Then that actually gives us a targeted part. And that's not me doing that. That's the measures that we use along the way. They're called the CASTLE standards. And the classroom effort, anyone know what that one was?
I don't remember.
It's learning strategies, right? So it's not just about measuring, like, when you show up to class, how hard do you work, right? It's about what strategies are you using to get through that. So those 2 are different for the purpose of this particular report, okay? And thank you for noticing. So first one is really, we're thinking about supportive relationships. As long as we've done Panorama, this has been a huge strength for us. And it's not to be underestimated, right? Because we think about like that strategic plan, what did we want? We wanted connection, and that connection was super important to us. So guess what we're getting? We're getting connection, right? Students are saying they're connected, which is great. This is their voice. And so if you think about like over time, like what are the different kinds of questions we ask? And I won't read all these to you, but if you look at, they're pretty high. I mean, the responses, positive responses are pretty high across the board. When we think about classroom effort, remember this is the first one we're going to say it's a little bit different, right? And so how much students report seeing their behaviors, right? How do they correspond with their learning? Well, that's a little lower. And so what's the explanation for that? Well, why are we working on agency? When you closed your eyes and you had that feeling, how many students can do that? Right? On a daily basis with every teacher they have. Right? They might be able to do it at points in time during the day, But in order to move this line to the right, we have to have agency. You do.
Can I ask a quick question? So, so does that change as they get older, or is it, I'm assuming that's an average for the school district?
Correct, yes.
So does that change for the older kids? Because I would assume so, having taught younger kids, that it's a more difficult thing for them to identify. So,
Yeah.
so did I assume that correctly, or did I do the?
So you're saying that as kids spend more time in schools, they actually report less positive experiences with their own effort?
I think maybe they know how to label it better.
Yeah.
Or identify when it happens.
Yeah, the national trend for as long as I've been around, and this is 32 years for me, but is that's exactly what happens, right?
Okay.
Kindergartners come in excited as all get out, and then over time, that engagement level, the report engagement level drops, right? But I got to think, and I'm going to talk about, Principal Carlson was here a second ago. Some of the work he's doing, I'm like, oh my gosh, so good. And so that kind of work will really elevate this, move this line to the right along the way. So yeah, it's a challenge. And this is not, I would say, great street data. But hey, it's telling. What do we got to do? Why are we doing agency? Why are we thinking about dignity? This is it. So just to give you context of the kinds of questions that are there, I just wanted to, because I know that came up last time, like, what do they ask them? Perseverance is another one. When we think about, like, how are we persevering over time? Well, again, the result is less than the national average, but that's just telling you where we're at. It's data, right? It's not saying that anyone's doing anything bad. It's just that kids are saying, we demand our agency. Like, in order for us to show up and be whole in class, in order for us to persevere in something, our identity, our learner identity, has to be related to the learning that's happening, right? Has to. And so then, what kinds of questions are part of that? Are labeled here. So then, the growth mindset's another one. This is something that was a lot of research for a long time. Angela Duckworth talked about, like, this concept of grit. Remember that? And so, where are students really relating their own growth mindset along the way? Well, they're saying it's low, again. So what are we doing about it? What we're doing about it is dignity and agency and thinking about learner identity, right? We're thinking about assessment-capable learners. We're thinking about how do we put kids in the driver's seat of their own learning. It's the only way this is going to change. And make that normal. Self-efficacy, the other one. Self-efficacy is this concept of, do I believe what I'm doing matters? And we asked this question a long time ago. I think George Kuros asked this. If you're gone from class for a day, does anyone notice? Right? Now I know for sure if Dallas is gone from class, people are going to notice because Dallas is kind of a special kid, right? He is. People will notice that he's not there. But do we have that for every single student? Like, can I be gone for a week? And everyone's like, I come back and everyone's like, I didn't even notice you're gone. Right? That's not good. So self-efficacy is how much do I believe I can succeed along the way? And we have questions that are attached to that as well. And the reason I'm not reading these because I think you're getting the gist of what it is. But this last slide here, I think was probably one of the more powerful ones. So the last question they ask on Panorama, it's an open-ended question, right? And so it's just basically, what can adults do for you to better support you in your learning? And students, I got every answer I got a lot of I don't knows, right? If you look at what that is. But then I took all the answers. I think there was probably at least 600, maybe 700 answers for this. I took them all and put it in ChatGPT, and it gave me categories, right? And these categories are what spit out. And so this for me is really powerful street data, talking about, like, what do students need, and what experiences do they have within schools. And so if you think about the one thing they really need, super important, is clarity. Think about that, clarity. Remember I talked about core competencies, right? If students don't know what the learning is, what's going to happen? Well, they won't learn, right? Now I want to bring up a meeting I had. I went to Mr. Carlson. He met with his instructional leadership team. And so I took notes during this meeting. What they're doing is they're talking about this work. This is teacher experiences, right? So I just wrote a couple notes down. And so the team said, Mr. Carlson, I want you to give me absolute proof that this work is making any difference with kids, it will make any difference with kids, without talking about research, right? Now I thought, well, there's no way you can do that, it's impossible. But his response was great. So one thing he says, that students who know their goals, check on progress and adjust their approach, learn faster and more effectively. It's like using a GPS for learning, right? It's brilliant. right? And you think about these comments, that's number one right there, right? So thinking about how do we elevate student agency, well, they're doing it. They're talking about assessment-capable learners, like putting students in the driver's seat, right? The other thing he said, when students understand success criteria, evaluate their own work, and act on feedback, their learning accelerates. This is especially true for students who struggle, right? So true, so true. So think about the street data there. Is our principal addressing this? Yes, right, and he's doing it in an instructional lens. Powerful, powerful work, right? So I think about like, this can be thought of as being kind of like extra. And we think about how do students feel, being like, well, that's great, but what are they learning? You can say, well, what's their experience like? Well, that's great, but can they pass the math test, right? They are interconnected, more so than ever. Like kids absolutely, and you two can correct me on this if you want, they absolutely demand being engaged. And I'm not saying they sit back with their arms crossed and saying, entertain me. That's not what I mean. But they need to see themselves in the learning, or they won't do it. They will vote with their feet. They literally won't do it. And so this work is so vital for us to move forward, and us recording this is this is a really important data point for us, because it goes into the hearts and minds of kids. Super important. So I think that's the last one.
I think, when I'm thinking back, part of the engagement part and being engaged is when we look back at the question, when complicated ideas are discussed, how sure are you that you can understand them? And it's 36%. And so when you're in a classroom and you're feeling like, I can't get this, that just shuts so many kids down right away. So I think having that agency and being able to look at how they learn and give them that ability to learn in a different way is going to really make a huge difference in how well you can understand difficult things. Because it doesn't have to be one certain answer. It can be, the answer can be here, 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 and here. And you have to have some confidence in yourself if you're going to learn. You have to have some, and when you go in there at 36%, if it's really difficult, that's hard for a student, because they're sitting there thinking, I can't learn this. So I think having that ability to change things up is going to make a huge difference on these questions in the future, I think.
And this comes intuitive. You used to be alternative school teacher, right?
Yes.
Every one of those kids would show up and say, it's too hard, I can't do it, right? No matter what it was. And so you turn that around, right? How'd you do it? Well, you put them in this position, and I'll call it mastery, which is the bottom right-hand corner, which is on an agency. Like, are there multiple ways to really do things and learn things? If the answer is no, then, boy, it better be super important, right?
Right.
Like if I'm bleeding, there's probably one way to stop it, right? But we're not talking about people bleeding. We're talking about like kids doing math. Should there be, and is there multiple ways? I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and just the fact that you can tell them you can learn this and you will. Just having someone say that to them, that you're going to learn this. You can do it. It makes a difference,
Yes, absolutely. I still remember so many times when you said, I know this is really tough. Have faith in yourself, have faith in me. We'll figure out a way to get there. They have to believe that you will find that other way for them to get there. And they have to believe that you will make sure that you are there for them.
Right.
No matter what it is.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, that's connection, right? That's one of the 3 C's.
But it's also knowing that you're going to find the other ways to do it for them.
Yeah.
Because
to make a
they
difference,
matter.
just like one person, right? Make a difference in a kid's life. That's it.
Like that, yeah. I think we're going to see some big changes with this.
So this stuff you've seen before, but
Sorry, as I'm reading this.
no, it's all good.
Trends in student written comments. And when it came to relationships, respect, and understanding, a strong theme is to be kind.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have to ask for that.
Yep.
Interesting.
Well, if you look through these, you start seeing values, right? What are kids' values? Like what do they consider to be important to them as human beings? So, yeah, kindness is one of those,
Be
isn't it?
heard without judgment.
Well, I love the one about feeling dumb, okay?
Yeah,
I was just thinking of all of us, right? Okay, you asked us the question.
Yeah.
And I was going to say the one you said, but nobody wants to feel dumb up here. So nobody's saying the answer because it might be wrong.
We're saying the same thing.
Aaron's gonna school me.
See, now I feel dumb because I
So
put you
now
in
you
a
know how
bad
they
place.
feel, you know? It's like, okay, it's hard to say something when you're not sure of the answer.
Absolutely, yeah.
To students, we get it.
Yep.
You know, one thing and Director Madigan, I was thinking about like when principals are presenting their CSIP plans, I mean, probably a very small portion of that is going to be, I would say, satellite data, right? But a vast majority of the things that you love is all street data, like teachers getting up and presenting part of what's happening in the school. The goal setting that happened at PTR, I think about that quite a bit. It's the kids that stand up and talk about their experiences. Like, I'll never forget that young lady at the high school that talked about her experiences in special ed. And I thought about, like, man, that's a kid that I want to be like, right?
Yeah.
And so those street data these experiences are powerful to all of you, but they're powerful, period. That's why principals are putting kids and teachers in front of you to actually represent what's happening in schools. That to me it's changing. It changes the world. So yeah, we do that. Maybe do more of it. I don't know. Any questions? So many. You're like, oh, I don't know where to start. By the way, I would nominate you all for the board award. Yeah, board distinction. You deserve it. You deserve it. So it's all good.
I think
pass the
because
test.
there's so much to ask and think about and say,
Yeah.
is a good example of why maybe this is a strategic plan, it just needs to be updated and not totally.
Yeah.
You'll have 2, maybe, new directors, maybe 1. So part of our ongoing conversation will be about what is working, what's in the way. And May's board retreat will be deeper reflection. Hopefully, we're not talking about facilities for part of the day. We can go deeper, but part of that conversation really is to do a deep dive and say what is in the way, what's working well, how do we honor and build on those strengths, and how do we lean into the problem areas we see, and that'll kind of drive us. Are the goals working, and are the measures within those the right ones, or are there some new things? So we definitely anticipate ongoing reflection and conversation with a call the question activity in May.
That's what makes it hard to not be there. Because you're working on something, you want to see it, you want to see those things.
Aaron, this is done in winter, so this coming year we'll do this again in,
We do it 3 times a year.
yeah,
And
okay,
so,
3.
Yes, so there's one happening as we speak.
Okay.
That's happening right now, and then one will happen again right around January-ish,
Okay.
and the last one right around May or so.
Okay,
So, and what this does is it puts all those into 1 year,
yeah,
otherwise I'll be showing you like 50 slides. And
yeah. There's,
No,
I'll be
please.
interested to see some of the data as it comes out this year, knowing how in your previous presentation you were talking about how the students are actually involved in some of that stuff. And so their voice is coming out much earlier in relation to what they're earning. So I would think that some of that panorama data, where we were on the lower side, will scooch up a little bit as they're gaining the clarity that they're so looking for.
yeah,
You would have loved to see the life skills kids and their agency at the fair, because they all came to the ice cream place, but they separately had to order, and they separately got to have their money and gave it their money and said thank you, and it was just every one of them. Mrs. Bannon, I think it was the teacher up there, and it was really cool to see, because it was like they were really teaching those kids how to be independent, and it was just fun to watch them.
Wow.
They got really excited over the ice cream too.
Just like ice cream.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
thank you. All right. Heavy stuff, important stuff. Next up is our consent agendas. We have items 1 through 5, and if there's no discussion, which I don't believe there is, I will take a motion.
I move to approve items 1 through 5 on the consent agenda.
Second?
Thank you, all in favor?
Aye.
Michael? Aye.
Catch a little bit of what you guys are saying, but go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'm just looking for a vote on the consent agenda. Aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. And then next up, we have a number of policy considerations for first read. And we had some good discussion leading up to this. So I think we just need to move these forward. Are there any that we need to hold in first read or move the whole batch to second read?
No, I will publicly thank everybody for answering my questions.
Okay, then we will go ahead and move the whole batch, Bonnie, to second read.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to staff for preparing these for consideration. And then this is unique, presented by Cliff Freeze. We have first and second reading.
I didn't have it presented by.
It still says presented by. So
Be surprised too.
So this is all about use of school facilities, and we're asking for the board for first read and second read, and then next up we have an action related to this with the facility fee schedule. So I will take a motion on this if there's no presentation.
I will move to accept. Are we?
I don't know, are you presenting anything?
I'm not presenting, I'll just let you know the nature of why this changed. So over time, as facilities have increased usage, what we found is we think we're getting in the area of we're starting to take on cost as a district. We shifted policy years ago to make sure our community had access and it wasn't a burden to families, especially around youth sports and meetings and stuff. We are the only show in town and the biggest place to gather. So we adjusted board policy to make sure our community had access. We think we've shifted the other way to where are we paying for lights and toilet paper and soap and custodians? We're noticing that we have, we think, a partial, if not a full custodian. That's maybe that cost is being borne by the district. So we've adjusted policy and facility use to not make money off our community, but certainly we want to make sure we're protecting public dollars. So that's the nature of the changes in the policy.
Perfect.
How long was it since we rose the cost?
7 years?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
7 years,
Yeah.
2017, I think, yeah.
Once in my lifetime here.
Okay, so
I remember way back when.
I think we've had a bit of inflation and
Yeah.
an increase in expenses, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Cost of
change in
labor.
wages.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any
All right.
questions on that?
Yep, thank you.
I think we're good. Thank you. So again, I will take a motion for board policy 4260.
I will move to accept 4260 board policy as presented.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, and then our first action item for the evening is related to that, the facility fee schedule. I will take a motion.
I move to accept the September 2025 draft fee schedule as presented.
Second it?
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. The next one is a board memo, minimum basic education compliance reporting, and I will take a motion for that.
I move to approve the 2025-2026 minimum basic education requirement compliance as presented.
Thank you. Second?
Second it?
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And our final action item tonight is the non-represented salary schedule revision. There's no presentation on this, and so I will take a motion.
I move to approve the revised 2025-2026 non-represented salary schedule as provided with an effective date of September 1st, 2025.
I second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Got some good business done. Next up for discussion is the WASDA General Assembly.
So this Saturday is WASDA's General Assembly. It's not a prioritization of what we're asking them for their feet on the ground in Olympia for, but it is, does require a vote on behalf of the district. So thank you to those of you who got to it. I just need one more board member and eyes on from our superintendent. And if you could just get that done by end of day tomorrow, I would really appreciate it, because I will go in and it will be our voice as a board, not my voice or my opinion. So majority rules here. And we just carved out space in tonight's meeting for that in case I wasn't able to put together an email to get out ahead of time. So since that's there, if there's any questions, feel free to ask, but I tried to make sure and reference easily the actual document, and so that you get to both of those, so.
Yeah, it didn't take long. Thank you for your organization, and the page numbers helped make it go pretty quickly.
I think I might have finished. You know, I started.
I think you left a couple of blanks, but.
Okay. Oh, wait myself a reminder. Because I went and did it, I thought,
Yeah.
but I didn't finish.
So thank you. I appreciate all of your attention to that, so I can.
Yes. And thank you for representing Ording during
course.
votes on Saturday. It does take some time to do that, so thank you for that.
No problem.
Next item, board comments. I do want to apologize again for being late today. I missed the fun parts of welcoming all of our new staff members. So I just want to personally welcome new staff members. We're happy to have you here in Ording, and I look forward to meeting you in person as I'm out in the district. I want to welcome Dallas and welcome back Carly. So it's great to have you here, and your role here on the board is really important to us. So looking forward to working with you this school year. And I think that's it for me. Welcome back, students. Anything else for comments?
Not from me.
Okay. Then with that,